And right now, we are 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostick alongside Katie Greifeld taking you through to that closing bell. It's a global simulcast. Carol Massar and Tim Stenovec join us from the radio room. Welcome to our audiences across all of our Bloomberg platforms. Another busy day after the bell tonight with some big earnings, including, well, from the second biggest weighting in the S&P 500.
Yeah, looking forward to it when Apple reports at about 4:30 p.m. Wall Street time. And it'll be interesting to see, like, Meta did well off of their earnings and that AI story. Not the case for Microsoft. Tesla, which was up initially after it reported aftermarket yesterday, we're seeing it down in today's trade. So I'm curious. Apple is expecting a record quarter, but we'll see what we get and when, you know, the AI story for them has not been so good, Tim.
I thought Romaine was talking about Deckers Outdoor.
Uggs, Tim.
That company
on fire.
Yeah, is reporting.
They are
after the bell, too. It's not just Apple. Visa, KLA Corp, SanDisk as well, among others.
We're going to bring you all of those names. I do want to point out something amazing happening on the S&P 500. We're down just 0.1%, Romaine. We were joking about whether or not it was actually going to go positive, but it has about 40 seconds. It might get there.
It might get there, but it gets to the idea of a bit of a holding pattern, particularly coming off of yesterday's that sort of duality of earnings between Microsoft and Meta. But we were just speaking with Venu Krishna over at Barclays, and he kind of gets to this idea here that this has basically become a single stock market. And there's a lot of bifurcation out there. According to him, he's saying that the correlations right now are at some of the lowest levels we've seen, at least when it comes to some of those big tech stocks. And you mentioned SanDisk. That could actually be a big part of the story for Apple as we take a look at memory prices hovering near record highs. As for the market, we're not going to close at record highs today here. A bit of a pullback, if you will, or let's just call it softness. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is in the green by roughly about 20 points as we wait for these numbers to settle. We're just going to call it unchanged on the day. The S&P down 0.1%, the NASDAQ Composite down 0.7%, and the Russell 2000, we're going to call it flat, up 1 point on the day. Carol.
All right, let's get to the S&P 500. We've seen pretty much an even split throughout the session, and that's a little bit more to the upside. 286 names in the S&P 500, Katie, higher, 213 to the downside, 4 unchanged.
All right, let's take a look at the sector level here. It's interesting when you break it down, looking at the circle. In terms of what was your big, gigantic winner today, it was actually consumer communication services that is solely, not solely, but a large part due to Meta and the huge rally that we saw there. Real estate also popping today. So too did financials and energy. In terms of what didn't perform overall, tech. As you probably aren't surprised, Microsoft having a terrible day. Consumer discretionary also off by about 0.6%, Carol.
All right, guys, let's get to some of the individual gainers as we await earnings to cross the Bloomberg terminal. Got to go to Meta Platforms. This definitely was an outperformer in today's session. Of course, 24 hours ago, we were breaking down their earnings. It's the number 3 gainer in the S&P 500. I believe the number 1 in the NASDAQ 100. That stock, as you can see, up 10% here at the close. There's a lot to say about this company. Check it out on the Bloomberg, but just real quickly, EPS sales beats. The company also gave a revenue outlook that was much stronger than expected, which helped offset really the impact of higher AI-related spending. That has been on everybody's minds, but nonetheless, investors being pretty rosy when it comes to Meta. Just want to mention Southwest. LUV is the ticker. That is the number 1 gainer in the S&P 500. Up about 19% in today's session, reporting results that topped analyst estimates, signaling the fruits of a turnaround after a rather challenging year. Company working to add premium options and has transitioned from its longtime open seating system, we all remember that, to assigned seats as part of a strategy to.
And some of us still love it, or well, I guess I can't love it anymore.
I want my seat. I want to know where I'm going, and I want to be in boarding group number 1.
Okay, sorry, princess. All right.
I wear the crown proudly. Do you want to do some earnings?
Yeah, these are crossing the wire right now here. The numbers themselves here look to be relatively in line with expectations. 317 on the bottom line. That's your adjusted EPS number for the first quarter. 314, that was the average of analyst estimates. So a slight beat there. Net revenue at $10.9 billion. The street estimate was looking for about $10.7 billion in cross-border volumes on a constant currency basis, up about 12%. We need to dive a little bit deeper into this release because the real story here is still a lot of concerns about any potential settlement on those exchange fees and how that might affect their business.
All right, well, I'll give you a moment to do that.
I actually have a little bit on that. In the release, I'm going through this. The company says on November 23rd, 2025, Visa deposited $500 million into its litigation escrow account, which was previously established under the company's U.S. retrospective responsibility plan to insulate the company and Class A common stockholders from financial liability for certain litigation claims. The deposit has the same economic effect on earnings per share as repurchasing the company's Class A common stock, as it reduced each of the as-converted Class B1 common stock. Okay, well, anyway, that's the news there.
Thanks, Tim.
It's a superseding and amended settlement agreement to release the interchange multi-district litigation injunctive relief issue claims. The settlement's subject to approval by the court. So the lawyers went through this press release pretty closely.
I feel like that wasn't written by a PR person.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But anyway, that's your answer to the question about litigation, Romaine.
Thanks, Tim.
You got
know
it.
what? You get an assigned seat on the next flight.
I'm still waiting for the interpretation on that. Hey, I'm going to go back to gainers. Cruise ships, they were definitely some outperformers in today's session. We'll bring up the boards for you. Royal Caribbean up more than 18% in today's session. Company came out, fourth quarter financial really squashed investors' concerns over cruise demand. They said demand for cruise holidays keeps accelerating, which could see the liner add as many as 6 additional ships to its fleet. They had a lot more positive commentary, too, about the business. So Royal Carib up almost 19%. You saw Norwegian also up.
Wow. Aren't you hip?
I'm really cool, aren't I? Royal Norwegian up about 10%, and then Carnival up about 8.5% in today's session. I'm not really cool, but I try.
Okay, stocks in the green, stocks in the red. Got to start with Microsoft. Shares having their worst day, going all the way back to 2020, down 10%. This after reporting record spending and slowing cloud sales growth, fueling investor concerns about the return on that spending. We spoke to Angelo Zeno of CFRA a little earlier. He's recommending people buy the dip on the sell-off. He said the valuation is compelling, concerned around the Azure number and concentration risk in OpenAI. Kind of sees those as overblown. He's still bullish on the stock, Katie.
Yeah, there you go. Meanwhile, let's go to Deckers, which it owns Uggs, but it also owns Hoka's, of which I am a huge fan. Their third quarter net sales beat estimates. They came in at $1.96 billion. The estimate had been for $1.87 billion. Third quarter EPS coming in at $3.33. You can see shares popping right now and higher by about 4.8% in the after hours, though I will note this company is coming off of a terrible 2025, falling about 49% or so last year. So they really needed some good news, and it looks like they got it. Their full year net sales, they see that at $5.4 billion to $5.43 billion. They had seen $5.35 billion, and the estimate had been for $5.36 billion. So definitely an upgrade there.
Well, let's go over to KLA Corp. That company reporting results, and shares up this year by close to 40%. Shares up last year by more than 100%. Second quarter revenue coming in above estimates at $3.3 billion. Second quarter CapEx coming in above estimates at $105.6 billion. Second quarter adjusted EPS coming in above estimates at $8.85. The company, as far as the outlook goes, sees third quarter adjusted EPS $8.30 to $9.86. Estimates were for $8.96. In the after hours, shares taking a hit down about 4.4%.
All right, obsessed with these companies, including Western Digital. I mean, this space has been on fire. This one's up almost 300% last year. It's up a lot already this year. Let's go to second quarter adjusted EPS, $2.13 a share, easily a beat. Street was looking for $1.95 a share. Let's get to the outlook, always important. Sees third quarter adjusted EPS, $2.15 to $2.45. Sees third quarter adjusted margin, 47 to 48%. Sees third quarter revenue, $3.1 billion to $3.3. I'm looking for some comparisons there, but you can see the stock already up about 2.25% here in the aftermarket. Again, this is another one of those that plays into the AI trade specifically when it comes to storage and the like. And so here's another outlook. Sees third quarter adjusted EPS, $2.15 to $2.45 a share. The estimate on the street, Romaine, only $2 a share. So that's a big up.
And I'm fascinated by this, too, not just because of the phenomenal run up in these prices, but then it also offers a read through into what we might hear from Apple a little bit later in the afternoon. Remember, as names like SanDisk and Western Digital rise on the back of pricing in the memory chip space, you have to remember that those chips actually go into devices. A lot of devices, of course, made by Apple. So we'll see how it all balances out, of course, with Apple expected to announce some progress on the the AI front, but maybe getting a little bit of a drag from some of those prices. And speaking of which, SanDisk out. The share is getting a nice pop right now. Carol, up 10% in the after-hours trade.
How?
The company providing a revenue number, $3.03 billion. The street was looking for $2.67 billion, so a beat on that front. Got to dive a little bit deeper in to get the rest of the numbers here, but the knee-jerk reaction to the upside.
Yeah, that one was up more than 1,400% last year.
Yeah, I know. I'm crying.
Are you? Because you had no exposure?
Yeah, I'm just in like these, lazy little dividend, what do you call them?
Index funds?
Index funds.
Warren
Yeah.
Buffett.
It's not just about buying shares of Crocs.
Warren Buffett?
Warren Buffett, heard of him?
Yeah, I mean, he had a nice run.